and make it move on top of it. So I'm going to choose the capsule, the group, not the mesh itself, because I want to include the flare as well. Shift select the curve. Go into animation model, go into animate, motion path, attach to motion path. Let's open its options and hit reset. Okay. Time range, it's going to be time slider, it's okay. It's 1 to 1 to 100. It's going to be fine right now. Parametric length, we're going to leave off. Follow, we want to follow it because it's going to take care of the rotation. Front axis, let's see. Our front axis, it's not going to be X because this is X. Front axis will be actually Z because it's pointing down the Z axis. The up axis is going to be Y. It's not very important because it's a round object, but we're going to keep it aligned to the wall, so Y is up. And world up type, it's going to be vector with Y, so it's going to be consistent. As for inverse up, inverse front, don't worry about it because we're already aligned to the wall. And bank is not really important to us because again it's a round object. Let's hit attach. Okay, so now we can see the object, the capsule, is running on top of the line, but it's just moving and rotating around its pivot, so it's not exactly what we had in mind. And since the motion path is really simple, you have a U value, that's the length of the curve. You have a front twist, up twist, side twist. It's not really helpful for us. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to drag it to frame 0 and focus around that. In order to create some sort of a deformation across along the path, we need to go to animate, motion path, flow path object. Let's open its option, hit reset, and leave it as that 5 to 2, 5 on the front and 2 on the up and side. Say flow. What Maya does is actually it's creating. Oh, sorry. I think I missed something there. Oh, and it's important to have lattice around the object. So it's going to follow the object and going across the path and not just put a lattice around the curve. So lattice around object flow. So what actually happens here, you can see here in the outliner that we have some sort of a lattice that is going with the capsule and rotating and deforming according to the path, which is really cool. But again, it's not a 3D stroke, it's actually some sort of a pin moving down the path, so we'll have to take care of that. In order to lengthen this capsule, I'm going to need to scale it, but the minute I'm going to scale it, it's going to get out of the FFT, out of the lattice, so I'm going to need to scale the lattice as well. Problem is that if I'm going to scale the lattice, it's going to scale the capsule as well, so I want to scale the base as well. So I'm going to scale capsule, lattice, and base, all of them, and I'm going to scale them on the z-axis. Okay, so now I'm trying to get more of what I plan to have. Let's turn off selection highlight so we can see better what we have here. You can see that it's moving along the path, but we're way missing some sort of more segmentation. So let's start with the lattice. I can see that 5 segments across the path is not enough. Let's turn it from 5 to something like this. Say 90. 90 would be good. So now it's moving much more smooth. We can take the curve and then we can take the flare and hide it because it's not really important to us right now. And if I want to scale down the mesh itself, I can take the stroke mesh and in its initial polycylinder node, just dial down the radius to something that resembles more of a snake or worm instead of a chubby worm. You can even ask show deformers. I'm gonna cancel it. So now I have this system. It's much more nice and much more cooler. Let's see how we can take care of the just break it down instead of just having it the same width across the path. You can try to play with the flare. You can have it more chunky in the middle, more chunky towards the end, chunky towards the start. You can see here that you don't need to actually see the flare. You can play with it, and I have visual feedback of what actually I'm doing. So just middle click and dragging. Let's say I want to create the tail a lot more narrower, so I can take, let's see if it's start flare. Yep, it's start flare. You can see that you can take it down almost all the way, 0.1. Let's look through the camera and see what we have. You can even ask to turn off curves.